Where did you live 525 years ago? Nigga say, nigga, what the fuck? Why would I know that? People don't live past 100. Because it's important. 525 years ago was the 1500s. I'm from Detroit. And Detroit didn't have a map 515 years ago. When I was researching the maps, there was 3 different styles, shapes of Michigan. That's important. Because if there's trees and all of this shit, where was we really? Alright, now, pay attention to these numbers, class. You know how I always say you can't believe everything these motherfuckers tell you? You have to use your discernment. You know not to hit your mama from your heart. You didn't have to be taught that. You know if a motherfucker say, hey, I love you, your heart gonna say, So you know if a motherfucker say 525 years ago, y'all niggas was in teepees, but then turn around and say 500 years ago, you niggas was in big ass skyscrapers. That 25 years got some lies in it. So it's important. Okay, look, check this out. History says Detroit was founded in 1701. That's 225 years ago would be 1500. 1701 is 201 years later. Pay attention to the numbers. Detroit was founded by a French-Canadian colonizer named Antonin de la Monte Cadillac. It's funny, Cadillac enslaved Indians, but you niggas slaving yourself to drive a Cadillac. Okay. Notice how the map was almost empty. Still 64 years later after Detroit was founded. Look at this map. See that? Okay. Let's go to this. Now, for some reason, the history when it comes to maps of Detroit, there were so many motherfuckers that felt like they drove on the water around Michigan and discovered different shapes and cuts and tunnels and rivers and shit that the last nigga didn't see a few years beforehand. Let's look. Now, it says it was a hand-drawn one in 1761. And there was another one in 1790 depicting the city under the British rules. That means the city was founded in 1701, and then 1761, 60 years later, they finally drew a map of Detroit. They finally came out with a map of Michigan. And on this map, shit empty. They just got a couple of roads that the Indians was taking and shit, right? 60 years later, it took them to find this. So, maybe them niggas was fighting. That's why it took them so long to map this shit out. And they still couldn't get it right because there's so many people doing it. If there's so many people making their own map, that means there was so many shit that the last nigga left out. So the map didn't change a whole bunch of times. Okay, look, listen, just listen, bro. Just listen. And then it says in 1990, it's 30 years after they found, 30 years after this, the 1761. So there's really 90 years after Detroit was founded is when they finally did the map under the British rules. So that means British came and took control and they swapped it up compared to their rules. Now, look at these dates. Look at these names and ask yourself, why so many different maps? How much shit can this new guy make that the last guy left off? How many times these guys done miss some shit? Look at the dates. Come on, man. Come on, just What happened in between the times of these new maps? New buildings, new streets. What was the cause of shit to get deleted and for shit to get added? Fights, right? Alright, let's look at this. Just look at this. Because you from Michigan. Look. You see that? What is the fuck is that? What is the fuck is that? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. Check this shit out. It says the earliest original manuscript plan of Fort Detroit was drawn 1961. The first printed map was in 1764 by Jacques Nicholas Bellin. Okay, you see that? Detroit was took over 1701. The first printed map was 1764. 63 years later, they finally printed a map of Detroit. Okay, so let's check out maps of Michigan in the 1600s. How did Google miss this shit? You see that? Because we were just looking at the 1700s, and they told us from 1701 to 1764 was the first map, right? How did they forget about the maps in the 1600s? Don't it look like the motherfucking pinky finger missing? You see that? But look, there's more names and dates. So there's 3 more people that they should have added to history that then sailed around Michigan, the Great Lakes, and goddamn took pictures and sketched all the goddamn turns and the curves and the beaches and the rivers and all of that shit. And they then drew a map. And they sold the map so much that they got books about their adventures. So how the fuck this nigga got the first printed, dog got the earliest drawn, but these niggas got motherfucking maps in 1600s. So you can't believe everything they telling you. You just gotta go with what your gut saying, right? Okay. Now look. On the 1700s map on the list, it say Jacques is the last name mentioned, right? So on the 1600 list, Louise is the last name mentioned, right? So we're going to go to the 1500s list. Look who's the last name mentioned. The last ones, Jacques and Louise. So they know better, but they still like, shit, nigga, we gon' them. Y'all worry about them. You see that? We in the 1500s maps. Maps of the 1500s. And they still talking about 1700 dudes doing it first. Alright, but why isn't there a known map in the 1500s, yes sir? You see that? So there's no map of Michigan 525 years ago. So where was we? Who were we 525 years ago? The 1500s. Because there's no map of us. Michigan, you Detroiters. See that? So. Let's do this. You see how this map in here? It say the tribes that was there before French and British ships came, mapping out the Great Lakes. drawn out coastal fronts and shit, finding star forts and Indians. See how they was trying to be slick with it? Look, pay attention to that though. You see how they was discovering cathedrals, pyramids, and mound builders, and they came from the Roman king and queens that gave them permission and the money to do it. But let's dig deeper on that shit. It says that the Great Lakes region can be depicted on the map of the world in 1562 by Abraham Ortelius. However you say that. So it's a map of Michigan in 1500s. It was included in the world map. Okay, so let's go find out what's on the world map. For some reason, it say 1569, but it just said it was depicted in 1562. So that's 7 years missing. Maybe it was because 7 years later he decided to add mountains and make everything connect, to make Australia an island. You see that? See it? So he went back and fixed his map. Alright. So let's check out the first one he had. That look familiar, right? You're like almost one of them normals, right? Alright. Look at this and ask yourself, why would they allow Abraham to publish a historical map that say Tartaria in Asia? So them Tartarian people was on to something. They wasn't tripping. Tartaria was real at a point, right? See that big ass cathedral? Pyramid? Whatever you want to call it. Temple. Alright, man. So look at the bottom picture. On the right page. See that small one on the top? Alright, look. I'm asking for a friend. Does La Florida kind of looks like Florida? You know? My trip. I mean, my friend tripping or no? Anyway, I know I ain't tripping about this one. Look at how it say Tartaria in Asia, right? It's about China. But you see how there's a great mountain wall of China right there too? Already there. See that? Is that the wall of China? When Tartaria existed? So is the wall of China Tartarian too? Mm-hmm. It was illegal. It was legal for Abraham to say that shit in 1562. I don't know. Maybe them Tartarian niggas was on or something, cause it said right here. No wonder why China got a dragon. When you look at Tartarian shit, you see dragons, gargoyles, all that shit. Lions with wings. You still see flags to this day with that shit. Tartarian. I don't know, man. Alright, so people drew these maps. They got their sources from riding around the Great Lakes and taking notes, right? Recording the shapes from a boat. This nigga got his information like that, and he actually drew some boats on here. He drew some fish on here. Don't know if it's for food or if it's for a warning, but it's on there, right? He also, they did, but you can see on his, he took notes of rivers and mountains as well. But if you know the origins of mountains, they used to be trees. Sound crazy, right? Okay, let me show you this. Look at this map. Why would all of those rivers have all of those mountain logos right there? Those mountain key points. Do rivers in real life have those many mountains just falling up the side of them? Or do rivers like that have big ass trees crawling up the side of them? Now, if these villages, you remember like Avatar, they used that one big ass tree. You know how villages always in real life stay by the water? Pyramids, all that shit up the rivers. So, what if the villages used the big ass trees up the river as a stop point, like a city? And they made star forts there. And if you planned on chopping them down, that's gonna be the new mountains, right? You going there to map shit out. So you gonna put a mountain on all the spots where you found a big ass tree in the village that was doing your shit, that was doing their shit. So now look at these maps. Those mountains look like villages, right? Those mountains look like key points where those big ass trees, right? All right, let's go back to the Tartarian map. See the rivers? Them river Indian spots. You always see the Indians relate rivers to them and their names, all types of shit. Makes sense now, right? Look at those mountains. Look how organized they are. Have you ever seen mountains in real life go up rivers like that? Have you ever seen Indian spots go up the rivers like that? Native villages go up the rivers like that? Pyramids go up the river like that? Cathedrals in cities go up the rivers like that? Factories go up the rivers like that? Everything go up the rivers like that, right? Do mountains, do trees. Shit not random, is it? Mountains off a river is kind of like Grand Canyon type shit, right? How many of them is off rivers like that? Right. Soon as the water come in the land, it's right there. Boop, boop, boop. Big ass mountains, just right next to each other. Or would they be fishers, farmers, and hunters right off the river? Just think about it. Just think about it. All right, now look back at the LA map. The not the LA, the Florida map. See those rivers? Makes more sense now, huh? Look at this African map. All those mountains and rivers, huh? All those pyramids, all those villages, all those Indians, all those giant trees. Still sound crazy, huh? Okay, if those were giant trees and they chopped them up, what would they do with the sawdust? How that big ass desert get there? Arizona, full of desert, right? Africa, full of desert, right? Rivers. deserts out the blue, right? Pyramids, whole bunch of tribes and shit right off the river, out the blue, right? Now check this out. If those was a big ass tree, let's think logically. If we was gonna clean up a river to make a park, or whatever, just saying, hypothetically, when we chop up all of those trees, we need a spot to dump that sawdust, right? We dump that sawdust in one spot, let's say it's hot as fuck all the time, like Arizona or Africa. We leave that sawdust there, it's gonna harden up. Shit gonna become damn near sand, right? Damn near sand, right? You know, tree, you can go buy a piece of petrified tree, look like a rock. So it's not hard for sawdust to turn into like a rock, like sand. But when you research sand, it says it's because water then smashed on rocks out the coast so much that the rocks decayed and became sand because it got broke down so much, right? So how the fuck did sand get in the middle of Arizona, Africa? Where those rocks at that the water was crashing so much? Where? Or those rivers around those deserts had big ass trees. And look at the Devil Tower. Had big ass trees. They chopped that bitch, sawed it down, dumped it in the motherfucking now desert. Sawdust land. Wood dust land. Petrified wood dust. Go in the desert. Get a handful of that sand. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Go to a beach. Get a handful of that sand. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Weigh them the same amounts, right? Put them on a scale. Weigh them. When they the same amount, put them in your hand. You tell me which one is more dense or which one is more hard. And if there's a difference, that means they're not the same sand. Right? So that means if you Google, can wood be chopped down to sand particles? Look at sawdust. Can wood petrify? What will sawdust do after it's been sitting in a motherfucking heat so long? Cook. Where's the big trees? All the giant trees everybody talking about. If this was like the Avatar, where are they? Go to the desert. Get you some money. Get you some sand from the desert. Pay a scientist to test it and say how much motherfucking chemicals in this, whatever. See if it come back with some tree in it. You know the properties of trees made up because you got the money to do this research. See what properties is in that sand, that desert sand. See what mountains around that desert look like giant trees. Look like the Devil Tower. Speaking of the devil, let's use that analogy. The devil versus Avatar, right? In the Bible, the devil got kicked out of heaven. Him and his legion, they came down to earth. They took over the earth. God gave them permission. They did their shit. They got so much time. Jesus came, told people, died, went away. We still left to deal with the rest of the goddamn devil under his time and shit, right? We just gotta believe what Jesus said until he came back, right? That's their story. So If we go to history, history says it was a bunch of people with long ass hair, crystals and shit. They was moving with elephants, lions, bears, tigers. Oh my, niggas was connecting with that shit. So we can say they was the avatars, right? If the devil came down here to fuck with the avatars, how would he start first? Kinda like the movie. Clone a nigga to get in their motherfucking operation to figure it out and then go straight to their source because you can't fight all of these niggas. They hiding in swamps and shit with alligators. These niggas got monkeys that gonna chase your ass you get too close. They gonna wear these people that y'all coming. These niggas got elephants that's gonna trample you get too close to the gate. These niggas got dogs, all types of shit. Snakes that's gonna sliver up in y'all shit. Y'all niggas get tired of running and shit. These niggas have birds that just like drones. So you had to go in there incognito, make a clone, just like the movie. These niggas made a clone, went in there, found out that they was going off this big ass tree. So they went in there and chopped off all the big ass trees that was up the rivers and the avatars. And it killed the frequency of the avatars, so they really couldn't fight back no more and all of that shit. And then the devil and them took over. That make more motherfucking sense than motherfuckers just came over here and said, hey, y'all bitches gonna be with us or you gonna die. And everybody just said, oh. It was a small group of them and a whole big group of them. Think about it. Just think about it. Gotta be incognito. Every major gang group, whatever, mafia, there's always one nigga in charge. Do you go kill a whole group? Or do you just get the head? Cut the head of the snake, the body fall. If the devil was taking over the earth, he gotta legion y'all, cause y'all had tribes. Religion y'all. Maybe that's why everywhere got the same type of cathedral. You can Google church, cathedral in every city anybody staying in right now around the world. And you can pick the furthest city away from you and you can find another cathedral, church, whatever. Just Google cathedral, is faster. Another cathedral that's just like the one in your city. So them avatar shit was here, building all around the world, connected together this whole time before people came and took over. Ask yourself, if everybody was born to know right from wrong, who can come from somewhere else, take your shit, kill, rape, pillar, murder, all that shit, still enslave you and not give no fucks? What type of heart would you have to have? Just think about it. You say aliens is weird. Maybe aliens is not what you look like, because we all look different. Animals look different, motherfucker. Maybe different is your heart, your intuition, your soul. We all can hear a song and bounce to that shit. But if a motherfucker that's not there can put any song on, that nigga still gonna be right. You can love a motherfucker. I love you. I'm here. I'm ready to die. Bullet coming. You can put that motherfucker still gonna be. I'm gonna cheat. I want more in life. I need more money. Fuck all this shit. I want better. Right? Alright, class. I want to just leave that there with y'all. Because I always wonder where deserts and shit come from, too. If you don't believe me, Google and shit always be lying and all that, too. If you're near a desert or you know somebody near a desert, tell them go near the river that's close to that desert. Drive up the river and see, do they see a big ass tree stump? Kind of look like the Devil Tower. Count them. Count how many they see. Bet you they stop calling you crazy. Bet you stop calling me crazy. See y'all next week. Love y'all.